That's cool. You know,
Yeah.
Dom Herrera was here last week, and he was talking about you. And he said an interesting
What did
thing.
he say to
No,
me,
it was
that
good. It was. You'll like this. You'll like this.
cocksucker?
Actually, you won't like it because it's complimentary and it'll make you
That
uncomfortable.
pasta eating so and so.
But he said you were always. He said he was always good. He said Bill was always good. He's always a good comic. He said, but something's happened. And remember, he said this.
Yeah,
he said
dude.
the past couple of years, he's fucking great. It's like something magical. I remember he used this
Started
phrase.
talking about my dick.
He said something magical.
That was
no,
the breakthrough.
No, it's the magical. You've always talked about your dick.
No, but this is more the thinking man's dick jokes. That's what I'm doing to set myself apart from the pack.
No, but it's an interesting thing because something has happened to you in the past couple of years. You're better than you've ever been.
Well, thank you.
Well,
Coming from another comedian, that's about as good as it gets.
yeah, and it's uncomfortable, and I appreciate
Not
that.
bombing in front of the cops was pretty cool
Yeah.
too. You know, I've had a great day here.
But what is there anything cognizant? Are you aware of anything changing?
What I did was I did. There was a few like weaknesses, versus the onstage me versus the offstage me. Stuff that I could do to get laughs off stage that I couldn't do on stage. So I just decided to start working on those. The same way if you were playing basketball, if you couldn't go to your left, you start going to your left. You play with guys that are better than you, or if you're learning an instrument, you try to learn a new lick or a new riff or something like that. And just keep doing it. But like I am, once you start selling tickets, then it becomes the game within the game.
Right.
Like, and then you just sort of, you put out a special, it just becomes like, okay, what can I do? Okay, I did that. What can I do in this next special that takes that and does it a little differently, or maybe hopefully progresses it to like another level, so I don't, at the end of my career, have like, he did 10 specials at the exact same level, the exact same style. I mean, there's something to be said about that. There's certain bands like that, like AC/DC.
Sure.
One of the things I saw with them one time was hilarious. It's like this guy was trying to give him shit. He said some number. He said, like, you guys have put out 15 of the exact same album. And they were like, that's bullshit. We've put out 16 of the exact same album, whatever like that. So they just knew, you can have like what you work, but what you have, works, you can stick with it. But like, it was something that I wanted to, I wanted to see how good I could get. And what I've learned is you're better than even if you push yourself.
Right.
So if you really start to push yourself and try to like just be aware off stage, if you're doing something that, there's so much shit that you do off stage as a comedian just because you're not on stage and you're comfortable and you're also completely uncensored. Like there was stuff that I would do in the car with my wife. I just do like these one-way conversations where you couldn't hear the other person, but you knew what they were saying.
Right.
It was something that I saw, a lot of guys specifically Pryor doing.
Right.
And I'd be doing it in the car, and my wife would be dying laughing, and I would try to do it on stage. And the second it started going bad, I bailed. And I did that for fucking 10 years of trying to learn this new skill that I knew I could do because I'm doing it off stage. I couldn't, and I would bail after like 2 seconds. And then one day I just decided, fuck this. I'm staying with this and I'm bombing with this till I learn how to do it. And it was like within 10 days, I was like, 10 times better than, I was bailing after 2 seconds, but I'd already seen the growth. And then that just set off this whole thing of like, well, what about doing this? What about doing that? And then I kind of noticed, dude, you got like 2 different voices you do in your act. Why don't you try to expand on those? So I've had a couple more of those. And if you just, act out some stuff a little more, then what happens when you have those different skill sets, when you go to take on a subject, you then have different tools that you can sort of mix and match. It's like when you're in the kitchen, like a pussy.
Yeah.
And you start getting...
You'll never let that go, man. Let it go, man.
I loved it, though. It was endearing to me. I'm from the East Coast. That meant you liked me. But it's the same kind of thing.
Do you think that, because you said a word there which I think is really important. You said the word comfort. And when you were talking about, you started to experiment, you started to use things that you knew you could do, but you're a little scared to use.
Right.
Do you think that success, like when you start selling tickets as opposed to be, and now you're headliner.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the club,
But first.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like, when you're selling the tickets, when they're coming to see you, you've got permission a little bit from the audience. It's like, all right, I'm going to try it. They're here to see me. They already like me.
Yeah, but that kind of haunts me.
Yeah?
Because I I feel like I was a better comic when they didn't, because I had to get them. And I had a show I did recently. I just dropped in at the Improv, and Earthquake was headlining, and it was mainly a black crowd, and most of them didn't know who I was.
Right.
So I had to prove myself, and it was the most fun set I've had this year. It was just like, oh fuck, I remember this.
But is that were you funnier, or was it just you enjoyed the difficulty more? I mean, I don't know if it makes you funnier because it's a harder show to do, or it's more.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either. But I will say that what I liked about it was that just that those years where you just like, so much of your stand-up career is just one impossible situation after another. And you're just standing there trying to do the math. Like, how the fuck am I going to get these people? We don't have a microphone. Is that going to be a problem?
Can you do 10 minutes while the band changes?
Yeah.
No, I can't. They're just going to take the instruments off and on the stage. No, that's not how it
and
works.
as you're doing it, they're coming in there tuning up. Done gigs in hallways.
Yeah.
Hallways, areas that met in a hallway, cafeterias at like 1 p.m.
Sure.
The college kids have no idea there's going to be a show, and they just go, we have a comedian, his name's Bill Burr, here he is. And then you just walk up there and have to do an hour.
Sure.
Just an hour
I know.
of humiliation. I would always say to myself, in an hour and 1 minute, this is going to be over. And I'm going to be in my car driving away. And that's what I would do. And the part that I hated was the waiting to go on.
Yeah, I still do.
Once you go on, it's the hourglass has been turned over.
Yeah.
The sand's starting to fall. And every second you're up there, whatever hit you take, that's one less one you got to take.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
I used to always call it my college agent afterwards, flipping out, going, I'm fucking done with these things. I'm never fucking doing this again. I don't give a shit. He'd be like, all right. And then he knew I needed the money. And then he'd call me up and he'd be like, Billy, Scott Bass. That was my agent. Scott Bass calling. I know you said you're not going to do this, but I do have a nooner. I'm going to build around it. And, by then I'd be at home. And I cooled off. It was a couple weeks later from being on the road, and rent was coming. I needed the money. And he would be like, all right, it's going to pay $700. It's like in the middle of Iowa for $700, all inclusive.
You give me some of that
after taxes, that comes out to about $175. So, I would literally go, you motherfucker. I go, all right, okay. But I have to be able to say whatever I'm going to, absolutely. I go, are they going to know? They're going to know there's a show and all that stuff. So, we gradually, got like some better gigs out of it. But, I do want to get back to that. What haunts me is the fact that, I have noticed times where I can just sort of stop and smile, or I can laugh, and they're laughing because they know my laugh from the podcast, going, oh, that's his laugh. Yeah. And I'll get a laugh there. And I'm just kind of like, that's the kind of thing, I will be on stage going, am I getting soft now? Am I going to be that guy?
You earn a little bit. Look, it's like, if you go and see a band and, they play a song that you like, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, or if a guitar, like if Brian May's guitar sounds like Brian May's guitar always does, but it's a new song, that doesn't matter. He's earned that. It's his guitar sound. Or Steve Jones and the Pistols.
That's why I always hate when they say that. When they say he's become a parody of himself. It's like, how do you parody yourself?
That's bullshit. That's just people saying shit on their blogs. Fuck that.
Yeah.
You don't become a parody of yourself. You just keep going.
Yeah, how can you rip off yourself?
It's not possible. It's not possible.
According to these blogs.
Well, I think that there's a lot of stuff. I mean, there's an interesting thing that you look at. I mean, if you look at the internet, what it does with criticism, on the one hand, it's removed the power of critics. Cause, there used to be like a guy who gives you a bad review in the New York Times. He'd shut you down, man. No one would go. And now that doesn't really happen anymore. But now everyone is a critic. So people write scathing reviews, but nobody fucking reads them. Except the guy.
That cracks me up when I go overseas and these critics always show up, and it's just like, it's like, first of all, the show is already on sale and done.
Yeah.
And then secondly, everybody in the crowd now does your job.
Right.
So you're going to sit there. By the time yours comes out, I've already left town. So
it's such an old-fashioned thing. I know it's such a weird thing. I remember I've had a couple of those, and they're usually even the good ones are a little snippy.
I have never. That's why I don't read them ever.
Yeah.
They have an inability to go wire to wire. They just can't say, you know what? I enjoyed the show. He's worth the money.
Yeah.
Go down there. But I still wish he had touched more on this. Or they always make fun of how I look. When the pasty bald freckled cunt took the stage. It was a masterful performance. Like, even if they said masterful performance, they would still have to trash the way you look.
Yeah, no, I get it too. It's like, oh yeah, using the Scottish brogue. I'm like, I'm not using the fucking Scottish
I'm
brogue.
from there.
This is where I'm from. I didn't put this on. This isn't an act. The material's the material. I'm not doing a character. I'm doing me.
Oh, you've become a parody of yourself.
Oh, fuck you, Bill. I mean, really. And with that, I am so glad you came in. Bill, it's lovely to finally meet you. You're a giant among men.